powerful partner and backer. In a time when the world did not think much of daughters, the prophet honored the strength and love in Fatima, his daughter. He said to hurt her is to hurt him, and to please her is to please him. Fatima was someone the prophet believed in. Once a religious delegation showed up in Medina calling for a spiritual test. They told the prophet, "You bring your people and we'll bring our best." They brought so many debaters, negotiators, and scholars, and there stood the prophet with his son-in-law, 2 grandsons, and yes, his daughter. We honor the strength and love in Zainab, the prophet's granddaughter, who spoke truth to power no matter what she suffered. With much of her family slain in Karbala by a corrupt power player, and all the survivors taken captive, she stood up as a leader. From Karbala to Kufa, from Kufa to Sham, hands tied, scarf stripped away, tired, hungry, grieving, far too many every single day, Zainab spoke truth to the people and truth to power. Captive but never capitulating, Zainab never cowered. She instead inspired fear in her captors and shame in those who stood on the sidelines. They threw her in a prison, tried to erase her name, but her courage could not be confined. Caretaker of the downtrodden, truth teller, never one to give up. Don't ever forget her name, Ya Zainab. What is the example of love we follow? Modern day sheroes rising everywhere, defying preconceived notions, bold in their faith and their ambitions, rejecting limitations. Amani al-Khattatbeh challenging perceptions about Muslim girls. Malala Yousafzai making education for women a priority around the world. Zareen Jaffrey promoting cool Muslim characters in fiction for our children. Rashida Tlaib, a powerful political force and state legislative rep in Michigan. Bilal Muhammad, blazing a path to an Olympic medal. Ibtihaj Muhammad, fighting by sword and by example. Dalia Mugahid, Linda Sarsour, Rabia Chaudhry, speaking truth to power. Nadia Hussain, who baked up some humble pie for the haters. Maria Ibrahimji, letting us tell our stories and getting them read. And our own Olivia Pope, Madiska Shabares. Judge Carolyn Walker Diallo, sworn in with the Quran in New York. Ieasha Rahman, the Rakshan Raja, Zainab Chaudhry, blazing in our backyard. The entrepreneurs, the creatives, the community organizers, the ones working to change the system from within and help lift others. Remember these names. The many others you and I could add and then add your own. To the young women rising, I can't wait to see you blow past our milestones. Strength, love, and solidarity for each and every one of my sisters as you defy one-dimensional characterization for yourself and others. We have no shortage of sheroes, love, or strength. We are the prophet's legacy of love, courage, faith, and progress. Thank you. So I see why you wanted that read. And it's amazing to come today and see so many of the pictures of the names that I had picked out of people that inspire me on the wall, right? For others to learn from. Because many of these people I had to find on my own. Growing up, I don't think I felt that I fit very well. I really struggled with believing that my ambitions and drive for leadership maybe had no home in our community. I'd not grown up seeing women at podiums, publicly representing us at events. And that's the reason why I'm happy to show up and do stuff like this, because even if I'm a terrible speaker, there are young women in the audience thinking, well, I could go up there and do better than her. That's great, do it. Right? Whatever gets you speaking and believing that you have a right to be really part of the critical fights happening all around us today. And that the strength and resolve you feel within has a place in this community, has a home. And in fact, it's not just our legacy, but our obligation to use it and channel it for the betterment of the world. If you're not being taught about our sheroes anywhere, get to places where you can. This is also the age of information, so seek out the information, right? That's our faith's call as well. And if you do, remember, don't just hoard that information, share it with others, teach others. I shared a lot of the names and stories that resonated with me, but one of the ones that I did mention is of Nusayba bint Thab. I love her story. She actually participated in a number of sort of treaty kind of treaties being put forth while the Prophet was alive. But she's most known for her participation in the Battle of Uhud. The Prophet was sort of in the middle of a battle, And there were several Muslim soldiers who had left their post thinking, oh, we got this. And the minute they moved, what happened? People are besieging, right? The tide is turning in that battle. The prophet's exposed. So this lady who's supposed to be on the sidelines doing sort of, taking care of the wounded, that was her expectation. She picked up a sword. She defended his body with her own. She fought, she took down people, and then when she was badly wounded, the prophet said, all right, calm down, why don't you go heal, recover. She goes to the sidelines, she sees her son is injured. So she takes care of him, and then goes back on the battlefield. The prophet points to who injured her son. She takes that guy like she hits him in the leg. And that's sort of an amazing story, right? I love that story. And the prophet had said about her, wherever I turned to the left or to the right, I saw her fighting for me. The fastest way I found in my career to quit naysayers inside and outside of the community is to cite precedent. There's precedent for women doing just about anything powerful you want to do in our history. You may have to find it, right? Because people who want to keep us down may not share those stories with you, but it's there, and it's your job. If you want to justify, if you feel the need to justify, you don't really have to. I also want to say, in these times, there's a lot of special focus on Muslim women in our articles of faith. For women that wear the articles of faith that identify them as Muslims, many in and outside the community see it as a disadvantage. When we're hunting for jobs or a target we place on our own body for people to hate us and really bully us. For the women that don't wear these, the struggle is slightly different, but should not have to include being made to feel excluded. We are all one ummah, right? We need solidarity, and we can't afford to lose the strength and resolve of all of us united, coming as we are. Whatever people are misjudging about you, either based on your hijab, your skin color, your accent, or anything else, your response should always be the same. Don't be cowed by other people's assumptions. Prove them wrong through your words and actions. As a lawyer and as a diplomat, I've walked into some rooms, and I think the first time I walk in and they don't know me, they might see me and think oppression, backwardness, and weakness. They are quickly proven wrong. And it's not through a discussion about my faith. It's never through a discussion about my hijab. It's me being me, right? It's going to be me showing myself to be a strong, capable, smart human being, engaging them on topics as an equal, being a professional, right? It's not going to be like, let me tell you about me and my faith. I don't even have to discuss my faith with you if I don't want to. You'll know everything you need to know about me when you talk with me for a while. And in any time, anything that others may tell you is a disadvantage, it can absolutely be turned on its head as an advantage. Visibility can be a burden, but if you know it's coming, there are ways to leverage it to your advantage. Find ways to use that visibility to help yourself, to help our community. Defy being put in any boxes. Don't let others define you in limiting ways. Focus on the work you want to do and succeed. A wise man recently said to me that success is the best revenge. And you don't get an excuse for not succeeding. These are challenging times, and you may feel the burdens of many battles over our bodies, our faith, and our country. Channel your strength and resolve in ways that contribute meaningfully to change things, but also that fulfill you in your sense of purpose. Because that's what each one of these women did. They struggled to continue fighting for what they believed in. It's a path of burdens, but it's one that's worth it. That's going to be difficult. As Muslims, we've really signed up to fight not only for ourselves and our families, but for the communities and the world at large, for social justice for all. That's our responsibility. That's the point of all the gifts we've been bestowed, our intellect, our labor, our souls, to do good, to do right. That's what these women did, and that's what these women do. Today, Nusaiba may have felt the need to pick up a pen to write an op-ed, a coding manual to start a website, a protest sign, or a mic at a podium. So ask yourself what responsibility you can and should pick up, but everywhere people look, they should see us, to the left and to the right, challenging perceptions and changing the world for the better. making it so the efforts of the women in this room alone take up an entire museum, inshallah. Thank you. I'm gonna go last.
And
Wow. Jazakallah khair. That was really amazing and inspiring, and I want a copy of the poem, as I'm sure a lot of people do. You just captured it so well. And thank you, Brother Amir. I'm really happy to be here. And I'm really happy to be talking about women's leadership. Because for me, it's fuel. It's how I fuel myself when I look at the role of Muslim women worldwide. And you know, I've had the opportunity, I work as a negotiator in conflict zones, so I've had the opportunity to see women in war zones. And one of the things that I always like to start off with by saying is that I rarely find victims. And it's the reason why I love working with women. Women across the board, they don't have the luxury of victimhood. They really stand up, and they don't only shift from becoming victims to survivors. Women are known, and the data proves that what they do is they actually hold their hands out and pull their communities with them. So they don't only stop at being survivors, they go on to be active citizens. And I think that Islam is no exception. And if anything, we've seen that the most powerful women have been powerful because of their faith, not despite their faith. And that's just general in terms of women, and particularly women of faith, because right now faith in general is under attack. Not only Islam, but faith in general is under attack. And women are often told that you have to choose. You have to choose between religious institutions that have been overcome by patriarchy, or to leave religion. And what I'm doing, and a lot of the Muslim women are doing, are saying we will not fall for that binary choice. We're not going to fall for the problem that's happening across the world, this polarization of choosing between the extremes. What we're going to do is we're going to help you find the middle. Because that's what we're missing on a global level, is we're missing that middle ground. Those who are polarizing, those who want to talk about extremes, they're winning because they're louder. But we know we have the numbers. I love what Linda Sarsour says. She says, we're never outnumbered, we're just out-organized. But guess what? That's beginning to change. And I think part of that is beginning to change because exactly what you said. I remember growing up, and with all love to my Muslim brothers, but every time I went to a talk on Muslim women, it was either a non-Muslim woman who had done research telling me about my own religion, or a Muslim man telling me about my own religion. And I thank them because you know what? They did set the base for us. So I honor them and I thank them. But now I'm also stepping up to claim my own mic, right? Because we have our own voice, and we're going to speak, and we have a lot to say. But I think the most important thing for me was going back to the roots of my religion. And you know, when we look at the Quran, we have so many things. Like what you said is so spot on. It's about the precedents, because that's what Islamic law is, right? Islamic law is a legal system. And so to prove cases, you use precedences. And the Quran is filled with them. I mean, the first leader to be praised in the Quran was not only a Muslim, but a non-Muslim woman, right? It was Balqis, the Queen of Sheba. And I remember when I was in Yemen and I was working in Hadramaut, and the men would push back on me and they say, oh, you know, you and your little Western Muslim, you know, Western feminism, take it back. And I said, Where did Balqis come from that Allah himself praises for leadership, for consultation, for shura, right? She's the first person to practice shura. And again, a pre-Islamic woman, which I think is very significant because it tells you that Allah respects all leadership styles, right? She came from Yemen. So we can't keep saying Western and this is American and this is European because it's in our tradition and it's in our land. And so when I start there. I start with Balqis and the consultation that she was able to bring. And like you said, if you want an example, whether it's social, whether it's political, whether it's military, you can find it in Islam. And under the laws of Islam, women had the right from the very beginning to sell and buy property. They were owning their own businesses. They could take legal action. They could vote. Women were giving bay'ah to the Prophet from the very beginning. And they were participating in political affairs. Most importantly, inheritance and divorce laws, in many ways among the most important rights when it comes to women, were also guaranteed under Islamic law. The results of Islam's teaching not only promoted human rights, but also encouraged individuals to stand up for their own rights. And that's what Muslim women did from the very beginning and continue to do. And make no mistake, that legacy is powerful, because without it, we don't honor our ancestral legacy, if we don't root our own strength and our own beliefs, then we have to start over every time. Every generation ends up having to start over. And that's why it's so important, not only just from a religious perspective, but also from the women's movement. We need to be able to honor where we came from and honor those ancestral roots so that we can really begin to spread our branches. And for me, I don't think it's a coincidence at all when we look at it, that, like we said, when the message came to the prophet, right? He could have gone to Abu Bakr, his best friend. He could have gone to his uncle, who was his biggest role model. But who did he go to with this message? He went to his wife. He went to Sayyidatuna Khadijah. He trusted her with one of the most powerful messages possible. And she could have turned him away, but in the true style of partnership, she stood by him. And we know Islam would not have spread if it was not for the connections and the wealth of Khadijah, of a woman. So when we start to think about the role of Muslim women, it's not only that they have a place in Islam. No, we helped spread Islam. We're more than a place. We were the catalyst in so many ways, and by standing not only by the Prophet, but with being active citizens throughout history. Now, I say that I don't think it's a coincidence, right?